Okay, in this video I will try to show you a simple version of financial statement, and we're gonna make a financial model with this simple one because I see that showing you the detailed one of Walmart is gonna be stunning for you. Now we have all the things we already learned: revenue, cost of goods sold, gross profit, operating expense, EBITDA, depreciation, blah blah blah, and so on. So these are the information you already know. And here's how we're going to make the projection. Is that, as I told you, you can go to the Wall Street Journal or Financial Yahoo to get those estimation for the revenue. Now here, this is the assumption company, so therefore I just make up some number here. Okay, so this is the growth. So as long I have this is the growth, so it is hardcoin, so I have to make it blue. Then the revenue here is going to be equal to 1 plus this. Okay, boom. So here formula I have, this is my forecasting because this is Now for about cost of goods sold, here I decide to have about the cost of goods sold is about 72.72%. Now again I will make the color blue, and this is going to be equal to, since this is about equal to about the cost of goods sold to revenue, so therefore here I'm going to make here is going to be like revenue multiplied by this value, and then boom, and then color should be black. Okay, so now I will have about a gross profit here, and then here's the gross profit to revenue, and then have the operating expense. Operating expense here is that I have about 19.9, 15.9, 15.5, 15.2. So I'm going to be skeptical. I'm going to bank at 15.9%. Now note here is that here I'm going to color it as blue. Okay, you can see there's 2% really different here because this is I hardcode them into, and this one is derived from a formula. Okay, so now I'm going to again this is that operating expense is 15.9% of the revenue, so revenue multiplied by this, yes, and then yes, yeah, okay, this is what I got. Now continue for EBITDA, and here we're gonna have this is equal to boom. Okay, so that's, we already have it. About depreciation and amortization, so we will leave it blank and we'll come back to it later. Okay, as I told you, we have about the depreciation schedule here. Now for the EBIT, here is very simple, move on, and then EBIT to revenue, move on. Okay, just calculate net interest. So as I told you, we will leave the net interest here. Then we're going to calculate for EBIT, and then here we have about the percent. Okay, now for the tax here is that we can see that the tax fluctuate from 32.5% to 33.5%. so here we're going to take 33.5, and the color should be blue. Okay, so here is going to equal this multiply by this, yes, and then here's the value for the tax that I have. Okay, now the rest of that we have the net income, so we minus it, we got a net incomes, and net incomes to revenue, and then here the number of shares outstanding. So here you can see is that number of shares reduced year by year, so that means this company has the habit of repurchasing shares. So let's take a quick calculation. This means that last year minus for this, I mean they purchased 24 million shares, so do the same, this one is 21. Okay, now I can assuming that they're going to buy back, I will assume that they're going to buy back about 20 shares for each after each year. Okay, this is my assumption that they will continue buy back their share. Okay, so since this is my assumption, so therefore I have that the number of shares is going to be equal to this previous as 20 here. Okay, and the value should be down. Now for earning per share, boom, we're going to calculate. Okay, so here we're already done for about the income statement. Now we move on into the cash flow statement. So as you can see here, we already have all the data, and now I'm going to make the forecasting. Here we have the net income here, so the net income is going to be equal to income statement, and then we will locate our net income here. Gotcha. Yeah. Then depreciation, amortization, we're going to leave it blank here. And then deferred tax, the income tax, we're going to leave it blank here. Change in account receivable, so these are about operating working capital, we're going to leave it blank here. Now in general, this is the net change in operating working capital. Okay, we have this value 0 for sure. You're going to have about this value. Okay, that is the first part, cash flow from operating activity. Now we move to the cash flow for investment activity, in which we have the capital expenditure here, and we can see that when I divide the amount of capex to the revenue, the value here is quite fixed, it's about 4%. So I'm going to make the assumption that this company is going to make the investment of 4% for the following year. Okay, so I need to make a one little boom, boom, boom. Okay, it is blue, it should be blue. So therefore I have going to have the capital expenditure be minus 4 multiplied by G revenue multiplied by where am I, cash flow statement, remember this. Okay, boom. Okay, the reason why I have the minus here, because the income is a positive, and here we are the cash flow. Negative means cash outflow. Here's for the disposal PPE. That means that if the company is going to sell something that you don't need anymore, here you can enter 0, or you can have some minimum value, say like 38. Oops, sorry. Or 38. But the point is that if you enter 38, that's maybe optimistic. So here we're going to be a little bit skeptical. So I'm going to make them all 0. Okay, that means that we assume there is no income on this, and the other investment activity too. So I think it's better to leave it as 0. Okay, good. That's my things, and then I'm going to calculate here. So here I have about my total cash flow from operating activity, from investment activity. Now for about cash flow from financing activity, so for this one we're going to leave them. Dividend pay, yes, for the dividend pay is that we are unsure about how much they pay. So there are two methods for dividend pay. There are two methods. Okay, the first one is I'm gonna look at the cash flow. The second one is I'm gonna look at dividend payout. Okay, so here, in order to save time, we're going to enter some random numbers. That I'm going to take the maximum here is 229. Okay, so that's what this means. This means I assume that the total amount of dividend pay is going to be exactly the amount of this amount. Okay, you can do some formula here. Repurchase of common stock. Well, the question here is that we have no idea if they have the purchasing their common stock or not. But actually they do. Now here's the point. Oops, sorry. So for repurchase of common stock, we need to have some assumption about the stock price. So here, in order to make it easy, I'm going to make it that minus 509. Okay, as I'm trying to make it quick and simple here. Okay, here we go. So I have about the total cash flow from financing activity, and then here I have the total cash flow from the total change in cash flow. Okay. Now after we finish for the cash flow, and here's we come for about the depreciation, as I told you. Okay, in the depreciation, here's some value. Now this is the blank one. Boop. So we have about the PPE at the beginning of the period. Okay, at the beginning of period, we need to know about the book value of the property, plant, equipment, and so therefore we want to depreciate them during that year. Okay, so now at the beginning of 2016 going to be equal to the ending of 2015. Okay, so I'm going to look balance sheets 2015. 2015 I have my PPE is this value. Okay, and then here's the capex. Capex is in the cash flow, and if you remember about the capex, you're going to know that the capex is the cash flow outflow, so therefore we have minus in our formula here. Okay, yeah, so we got this. Okay, so here's the book depreciation year life. Now assuming that I have about this 25 year for the PPE, and this also 25 year for the capex every new single year. So here I'm going to take, how do I going to calculate this? It's quite simple and straightforward. It's going to be equal to capex, okay, then you press F4, okay, you divide by 25, boop, and then you scroll to the left, to the right. That means that every year this PPE will be depreciated by 2,243 $. Okay, and so now we continue for the second one here. Divide by boom, 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 boom. So what does this mean? This is the capex. Okay, capex for 2016. This is this value. So this value gonna depreciate by 57 for each year. Okay. Now for the capex 2017, so it don't have any value here, but we'll jump to this because it's like this. Okay, can you see it clear? Yes. Okay, going to be equal to this, divide by this. Yes. Okay, and the last line is equal to this value, divide by this one. Boom. Okay, so I have a total book for the depreciation is this amount of money. Now since this is the depreciation life year, okay, so I already look in the MARCS for you. So this is the value. Now we simply let this value multiply by every single line here, this value multiply by here, this value multiply by here, and this value multiply by this. Okay, so here I have our PPE here. How do we calculate up? Now PPE here is equal to this, okay, the minus for this. Yes. Okay, and then scroll down, scroll to the right. Now about the capex is the same, and then I'm gonna divide by, it's not multiply by this one. Yes. And then here when we have this one, multiply by this one. Okay, capex, and then the last year going to be equal to this one. This one multiply by this one. Okay, HI 4 G4. Okay, finish. Now the sum. So the point is that the difference between the two depreciation method will create for you a deferred tax. Okay, so here that the deferred tax income tax rate we're gonna link them into the income statement, in which tax rate is this value. Okay, so when you have the tax rate, and this is going to be equal to this multiplied by this, so it will give you about the deferred tax income. Okay, now after we finish about the depreciation schedule, we move on to the working capital. Okay, so here is our working capital. As you can see, these are the value that I already taken from the balance sheet here. Okay, receivable, inventory, payable, accrual, liability. Okay, now I want to take by a formula that I'm going to decide for the day receivable. Okay, that means how many days that my receivable will turn to the real cash. Now here's the formula is that I'm going to take the average, okay, of the previous year and current year, and then I divide with income statement multiplied by 360. Okay, so the formula is the same. Okay, it is the same for the inventory. Okay, but the only change is that it is not for the revenue anymore, but the denominator view right now is about the cost of goods sold. Okay, cost of goods sold go with inventory. Now for account payable, it is also the same. Okay, and for about the payable, so for account payable, it is related to divide by cost of goods sold, and this one is divided by operating expenses. Okay, so now I'm going to hardcode the value, so I'm going to keep this in ratio 7, but this is 109.8. Let's say that I'm skeptical. This is going to be 42.8, 94.5. Okay, so here you don't need to pay attention to detail about the number here, because this is just an example for you. Okay, so here I'm going to have about the way to leverage it. It's going to be like equal to this one multiplied by, oh no, sorry, we have to begin from the receivable. This one multiplied by income statement revenue divide 180 and minus for this one next to you. Oh, okay, here we go. Next for self inventory, which this one multiplied by cost of goods sold, cost of goods sold, cost of goods sold, then you divide 180, then you minus for yes, inventory. Yes. Okay, now we're gonna have about total current assets, and here we're gonna have about account payable. For account payable, it's gonna be equal to this one multiplied by cash flow statement. No, working capital. Oh, it's where it's messed up. Okay, here's working capital, and then you're gonna multiply by cost of goods sold. Okay, multiply by cost of goods sold divided by 180 and multiply by cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold and divide by the next one here. Boom. Okay. Boom. Okay. Is there something wrong? No. No. Minus. Yes. Sorry. It's a little bit wrong in the formula. And now here is accrued liability. Accrued liability here is again gonna be like total expense 9. Okay, number 9 multiply by the ratio. Divide 180 minus 4 this. Okay, now we have the total operating working capital here. Yep. And the change in operating working capital. Okay, so here we already done about the change in working capital. Now we already finished for our operating working capital. And now let's take a look at our cash flow statement. So we're still missing for depreciation and deferred income tax here. We still haven't filled it in for the operating working capital. So now we begin with the first one, depreciation and deferred income tax. Now this is going to be equal to the total book depreciation. Okay. For deferred tax, it's going to be equal to this one. So now you already have finished for depreciation and deferred income tax. Next is about the change in operating working capitals. Here's that you're gonna see this is our working capital. So the receivable in 2015 is about 3.1 and the receivable in 2016 is 3.3. That means that this amount receivable is increased, and receivable means that the amount of money that the customer will pay you on. In other hand, the amount of money you haven't received it yet. So an increase in receivable means that the cash is outflow. Okay, so therefore we're using this information, and then that'll be equal to, now I'm going to make a little bit. See, if we take this one minus for this one, that's going to be positive, so we need a minus before that. Okay, so this is explain why we need, in our formulation it is equal to minus, and then working capital, this one minus for this one. Okay, now for inventory, working capital inventory is for the same things too. If inventory is the amount of product in your inventory, if it is increasing, that means that you buy them and you store them and not yet selling them yet, so therefore that it makes them increase, so cash will be outflow. So again, here going to be minus of 15 minus for 12, so here's our formula, equal minus for this one minus for this one. Now for change in account payable, now take a look a bit. If the account payable increase, that means that we can defer our payment to a customer. Okay, just like that. Instead that I have to pay you $50, now I just pay you about 30. Already pay you for 30, and the rest is 20 is standing for account payable. There is the amount of money that I haven't paid you yet. So I give that an additional amount for my cash flow. Okay, so that's going to be equal this one minus this one, going to be positive. That makes sense. This one minus for this one. Boom. Now for accrual liability, it's going to be like the same like that. Working capital, this one minus for this one. Okay, so we already have this, and then we make the projections. Okay, so this is about we already finishing for our depreciation, our deferred income tax, and change operating working capital. Now we're gonna move into the balance sheet, and note that this one is left because we have the debt schedule to fill in at the end. Okay, so now moving to the balance sheet, since the things for cash is equal to plus for the change in amount of cash here. Boom. Okay, now for receivable, as you can see is that now this is the cash. Okay, this is the cash outflow, and then how would it affect into your account receivable? So here is the things, because if account receivable has the cash outflow, that means your account receivable must increase. Okay, so it's going to be equal this minus for this one. Okay, minus for minus means the plus. Okay, that increasing. Make the projection here, and then for inventory, it follow the same logic. It's going to be minus for cash flow statement in the inventory here. Boom. Okay, here's the quick tip for you to check, is that this number here, okay, it should be equivalent to the number in working capital. Here you're going to see 3138, 3386. I'm going to check it, 3138, 3386. Very much. Okay, now I'm going to, where is my balance sheet? Here I can make the projections for total current assets, property, plant, equipment. Now that's going to be equal to minus, here's that depreciation is the thing, stays, reduce the amount of PPE. Okay, and then next is about looking for item in the investment activity. So it means this is the amount of expenditure for capex. It is cash outflow, but it will be increasing your PPE. Okay, that means, for example, if you spend $100 to buy capex, to buy equipment, so that is $100 is a cash outflow, but in turn it is cash outflow, but it makes the record of the PPE in your balance sheet increased by 100. Okay, so that's going to be a minus of this. Minus of minus going to be plus. And then here going to minus for disposal, minus for all the investment activity also. Okay. Ula. Now, going back for about the trick that we use to check in. Now here's going to check for cash, we check for receivable, we're going to check for inventory, and we check for now the first three here for cash, 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 cash. We check for cash. Let me format a little bit. We check for cash. Now we check for receivable, and we check for inventory. And as note that here we come for about the PPE. So PPE is we check, and the PPE is influenced by depreciation. This is influenced by capex and the two little things here. Okay, we can note here is that just the growth, so we can skip it. Okay, and here's just the sum. Okay, we can skip them. Skip them. Okay. Depreciation. Where is it? Okay. Now we can make the projections for this total assets. Now for this is going to be the sum. Now for a short-term borrowing. Now you can see is one thing is that in cash flow statement. So short-term borrowings going to be equal to. Okay. If our short-term borrowing increasing, that means cash inflow, so that means that you borrow more. For example, right now that you have about 50 debt in short term, $50, and then you come to the bank, you ask for another 100, so that means when you ask for another 100 yuan, so that's why you get 100 yuan, so your debt going to be increased to 150. Okay, and cash is still inflow, so that's going to be a plus here. Okay, balance sheet. And remember one thing is that when you making some color here, not trying to make, try to ensure that it is the text here is visible to you, not make the same mistake I do in class, because when the screen the color is too contrast, and then I almost cannot see that I already filling for the debt. Now next is about for long-term debt borrowing, so follow the same logics here. Gonna have about long-term here plus for cash flow. Where is my long-term debt borrowing? Okay, good. I make the projection here. For account payable, here I'm gonna plus for account payable. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, if your account payable increase, cash inflow in your is the cash inflow in your account payable. That means that you owe more money to customers. So that's when your plus makes sense here. Now for accrual liability, follow the same logic. It's going to equal to accrual liability. Boom. Now let's make a tick. We check for short-term borrowing. Here for short-term borrowing, where is my short-term borrowing? Yes, we check for long-term borrowing. Where is my long-term borrowing? Long-term borrowing. We check for account payable and accrual liability. Account payable. Where is my account payable? Account payable and accrual liability. Now take a look in our table. We still have several lines of the item left, which is net income, deferred income tax, and dividend pay and repurchase of the common stock. Okay, so here let's take a look now. Okay, so here we can project this. This is just a sum. Now deferred income tax can be equal to this plus for, where is my deferred income tax? Deferred income tax. Okay, so now let's take a look about this. Deferred income tax, already do it. Balance sheet, the deferred income tax, do it. Balance. Okay, so here now equity retained earning. Retained earning is about the thing less investor going to be equal to net income plus for dividend pay plus for purchase of common stock. Okay. So I'm going to back about explain to you. So about retained earning is left, the amount thing left for the shareholder. So that's going to be net income, the amount you're earning, and then you're going to minus for the total dividend pay because you already distribute to your shareholder, and then the repurchase of the common stock. okay, which is the thing to increase the stock price strategy. And accumulated order, now here we're going to tick here, retain earning, already tick. Okay, it's going to be net income, tick. It's going to be dividend pay, tick. It's going to be repurchase common stock. Now when we see that, it means that all the item line in the cash flow statement is already filled in, and then in the balance sheet that we only have one live item haven't filled it in. See one? Yes. Accumulate order income. So here's that you're going to check here to see if there is any other live item still missing here. Okay, but if it is not missing here, that means in the cash flow, this means all the line items are fully transformed into the balance sheet. So that means that here's that the things that just make sure that means that there is zero cash flow change in this. And when there is no zero cash flow, we're going to simply plus for equal this. Okay, and then we check this. That means no line in cash flow. Okay, no line in cash flow. Now I'm going to make the projection here. Oops. Okay, as you can see, this little trick works very well for you, because when you make the projection from the cash flow, stick by item to the balance sheet. That's make you to make the whole things be balanced here. Okay. And now before we finalizing, our last thing is about the short-term borrowing and long-term borrowing. Now let's go to about the debt schedule, which is the most important things here. Now how is it to be the most important thing? Now first, that let's say that here's breakdown is that cash available to pay down for debt. So what does this include? Mean the cash at the beginning of the year. For example, if the cash at the beginning of year 2016, that means the cash ending by 2015. So here is going to be equal to, okay, cash at the end of the year. Here's the trick. Here you see the cash at the end of the year. So cash at the end of the year 2015. I'm going to go to my balance sheet, and then I'm going to check for now. So this is our debt schedule. What happened? The cash at the end of the year is going to be equal to, here's 2015. Where is my cash? Yes, this is my cash, and then the cash at the end of 2015 automatically equal to the cash at the beginning of 2016. Okay, that's going to be equal here. And here, move on. Okay, now it's about the cash flow before the debt payout. So what is the cash flow before debt payout? Let's go to the cash flow statement, and here's the change in cash flow. We'll add another line here. That is about change in cash flow before debt paydown. Okay, what does this mean? It's simply that, okay, simply that operating capital activity plus for change in cash flow investment activity plus for all the cash exclude for those including about the debt. Okay, so here's the thing. Boom. Okay. So let's make a check again. See, you're gonna see here's equal to about operating activity, investment, and then we do not include the short-term borrowing and long-term borrowing here. Okay, so here's the thing. So we have this our change in cash flow before debt payout. Okay, and then we're gonna move to the debt schedule here. So we're gonna be equal to cash flow statement equal here change. Now, minimum cash requirements. What is the minimum cash requirement? Because any company needs to maintain a certain amount of cash in your account. Okay, so that means that they will never let the amount of cash below that, because they need to finance so many things. Now, let's assume that this company they need about 2 billion. Okay, so the point is this 2 billion here is going to be positive and negative. So you can have this mean 2 million cash. So let's assuming that you have on your hands about $10. Okay, and in this year you make another $3. So that's make your total cash available is 13. But you need to maintain $5 in your pocket. That's mean how many can you spend? Here my example, you have 10. Okay, you somehow you make 3. and then but you need to maintain 5 here, so that's mean that you're gonna need the amount of cash you can spend is that 10 plus 3, and that's 13 minus for 5. Minus 5, that's mean that you can only spend up to 8. Okay, 8 is the amount. So following the same logic, it's going to be equal this, plus for this, and minus for this. Okay. Now for short-term borrowing, we have the short-term at the beginning of the year, so we have the short-term by the end of the year, so that's going to be equal to, go to the balance sheet, short-term by the end of the year, where's my short-term borrowing? Here's here. Okay. And then here's when I'm a long-term end of the year balance sheet. Okay, where's my long-term borrowing? Okay, this is my long-term borrowing. Okay, and that here is going to be equal to this. Okay, it's not very difficult to trace out. Now, what does this mean? This means issuance. They issue a new debt. They come borrow new thing. And retirement is that. Retirement means that you gonna pay back the debt. Okay, so here temporary, we're gonna leave it as 0. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, here you're gonna short-term borrowing at the end of the year. That means, for example, if you issue one, now I'm going to take an example. If you have about $100 in debt, okay, $100 in debt borrowing for someone, you issue, and that means you borrow an additional 20, and then you come to pay another 40 of your old debt. So that means in general you have about how much debt left? There is 100 plus 20 minus for this. That's going to be equal to the sum of this. Okay, 80. That's clear. Okay, so here's going to be equal to the sums. Okay, now sorry, I need to make a format a little bit here. Yes, it's about the number. Yep. Okay, nice one. Now, for the short-term interest rate, oh yes, here I lack of an aligned item here, so I'm going to move it in here a little bit. Short-term interest rate. I'm going to have a short-term percentage of short-term interest payment. Okay, so here's the thing: you have to dig through the entire of the annual report to find out where is the short-term interest rate. So here we're going to make it quick. Okay, I will skip that step, and let's assuming that I find out this rate is about short-term interest rate is about 4%. Okay, 4%. I'm going to make a format here. It's going to be blue, and it's going to be percentage plus 1. 4%. So that's mean that during this they're going to need to pay down. Okay, that's 40. Okay, so here we're going to assume that the following years they're going to keep 4%. Okay, this is my assumption. So it's going to be equal to this amount. Okay. So the things here is that where is the problem here? The problem is that this is your short term at the end of the year. And this is your interest rate. Now assume that in this scenario, in which at the beginning of the year you have about 1,000, but during that you don't issue anything, but you pay back about 999. You pay back about this amount. So what left is that only 10. Okay, what left is only 10, and then you take interest on this one. Is it reasonable for you? Of course not. So here's the thing that people we're going to do when they calculate for the short-term interest payment. They're going to get the average of this one at the end of the year and the beginning of the year. So this is going to make the formula is going to be equal to average of this one and this one. Okay, and then they multiply by this one. Okay, so that's change the formula a little bit. Okay, make more sense. Okay, assuming that here that's we're gonna average is your average of the debt is one this and one this. Okay, on 500 gonna make it more reasonable than take interest rate on $10 here. Okay, now let's go. We're doing the same here, so here we're gonna enter 0. Okay, here is going to be equal to yes, some total change. Now, assuming that's for long-term borrowing, I assume it's about 2.5%. This is my assumption. Okay, no, sorry, it is not my assumption, but it is something I already dig through the entire of the balance sheet and I find out this value. Okay, so here's about long-term interest payment. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm gonna format these into percentage. Okay, blue here. Okay, note that for example now going to be equal to average. Oops. Equal this multiply by this. Okay, so this is where is your long-term interest payment. You have to do. You have to pay for that. Now, the thing is that it's not that all the time you can find out this value in the annual report. And so, therefore, how would you do? But at least they will give you one or two following information. One, they're gonna give you the interest rate. The interest rate. Two, they're gonna give you tell how much did they have to pay for the interest. Okay. Now, in the first scenario, we assume that they give you the interest rate. But now in the second scenario, let's assume here is that they don't give you anything information about interest rate, but they give you about the amount of money that has to pay. Let's say here is that going to be make up some number 550. Okay, 555. Okay. This one is in from this one I have to call it blue. So to know that this is the value that I find out in the the annual report. So here is going to be equal to this amount divided by the average. Okay, the average of this one and this one. Okay, that's make about 1%. Okay, 1%. But before, so this is going to must be about automatic black here. But here's the things. Just additional information. Okay, so it's not very meaningful because you have the long-term debt at the beginning of the year. Okay, you lack of that because now assuming that here you're gonna have about. So what is the average? The average of this and this one is gonna be so the formula is still keep the same. Okay, that's good because I thought that here they don't have the value, so they have it is 0, so 0 plus this divided by 2 is going to lower by 225,000. Okay, that's going to smaller, but here if it's okay, so just leave it here. Now you're going to have this, and then it's 1%. I make my assumption is to be 1% for the following year, and then here's my calculation. Okay, so I have about long-term debt payment. Now it's about the total issuance. What is the total issuance here? The total issuance here is okay, I'm sorry, it was short term. About beginning of year equal here. Okay, they just make some nice things here. Okay, now what is total issuance and retirement? That is, you just make the sum of all the retirement and issuance going to be equal to this issuance for short term plus for this plus for this plus for this. Okay, so you have the total issuance expense. Now, total interest expense. Okay, what is the total interest expense? Here's the total your things you already pay. So it's going to be equal to this one and this one. Okay, so this is total interest expense. Okay, so cash at the end of the year. This is something that you have to be very careful. Now, assuming that we have about this is that now cash at the end of the year. First, based on your logic, you're gonna be is cash at the beginning of the year. It's gonna plus for change in the cash before debt payout. Okay, and then we don't do anything with this. Okay, we don't do anything. Sorry, I just touched on my screen. I forgot that you don't see it. You don't know anything about the minimum. Okay, don't do that. This is just the amount to have about the total to determine the safety amount level. Okay, so this is going to be to this, and then you're gonna plus what? Plus what? Sorry, you're gonna minus for the total interest expense here. Okay, so you're gonna result here. Oh no, oops, I sorry, I forgot about the total debt issuance here. So let's make a little bit here, and then we have about cash at the beginning of the year, cash flow before debt payout, and then plus for the change in the issuance here, and then normally you think that we're going to have a minus for the interest expense here. Okay, so that's mean that, okay, let's say about, what does this mean? This means that, for example, if about in that at the beginning of the year you have the total cash before what's happened to my things? I don't think it's gonna work. I have to pause a little bit. Something struck on my keyboard. Okay, now it's back. Okay, good. Now the thing is that you have the cash at the beginning of the year is about 100. Okay, and then the change in cash would be for debt. I'm going to make this a little bit easier to see. Change the cash, for example, is increased by 20. So that means that totally you have about 120 here. And then total issuance, that means assuming that you have the total cash and total issuance or retirement here, the net, okay? That means in this year you're going to have the net here is that, for example, here I'm going to have about issuance, retirement, okay? So for example, here if you issue about 15, you pay for 80. So the net here is going to be equal to this one plus for this one. So that's mean in general you retire about 30. So that's mean equal to this, okay, and then equal to okay, that's going to be equal to 100, and then plus for this change. Okay, that is about 90. And of course, one thing you can argue that we forgot about the interest rate. That's why, for example, interest rate is $5. $5 is going to be 90. Sooner or later you still have to pay this. Okay, that's 85. This is absolutely right, but however, here we do not include the interest rate into us. Why? Okay, but the first, let me change the formula. We do not include the interest rate. Okay, this is we only have about the net. Okay, we only have about this number. We only care about this number. It's again something happened to my Excels. I don't know. Hello. Sorry, I have to pause again. Okay, my computer is back. Now the thing is that here we don't do anything with the interest expense, because this interest of expense, they will move directly, okay, move directly into the income statement. Okay, they will move into here, net interest here. So when they move here, they're gonna change for the entire of your net income. When they change for net income, they're gonna influence into the cash flow statement here. Okay, so that is indirectly affect into your change in cash flow. Okay, so you already make a change for that. So therefore, there's no need for you, okay, in debt schedule here to include the interest here. So we have to exclude the interest here. Okay, I hope you get the logic. Now just make the projection here. Yes, and then here we already just finished for about the total cash at the end of the year. So when we finish for the cash at the end of the year, so when the interest deposit here, I'm going to make it simple. Let's just say that interest only 0.1%. Okay, and here I'm going to format them into percentage. Okay, this is say like the blue value. Okay, and then interest received for deposit. Okay, it's going to be equal to this. Normally it's going to be should be average, okay, of this at the end of the year with the beginning of the year multiplied by this one. Oops. Okay, I'm going to make the number great again. So here is that I do not use the decimal number, so therefore that sometimes the value is 12, but it's not actually 12, it is 12.4. okay, but it is the difference here. You have to know that here they show us 12, but the actual number in this cell is 12.4. So if you don't believe me, here's the thing you can check is that if I have number 12 here, so I'm going to take this 12 minus this 12, it should be about 0. Okay, here shows 0, but okay, is it to be 0? If it is actually 0, so therefore I multiply with some certain number, this is going to be have to be 0, right? 0 multiplied, and so going to equal this multiplied by this. See, it is not 0. Okay, the actual number here is here. I'm going to make sure. Yeah, that means that the cells here is still display the round number 0, okay, because 0.4 round to 0 and 12.4 round to 12, but the actual value is still some other different number, okay, just to remind you, to make you not confusing about this, okay. So we have about our interest payment. Good, great. Now it's about when I have to change about this is the interest that I receive, this is the interest I have to pay. Okay, so now I'm going to back into my income statement. Okay, go to back my income statement. I have about where's my income statement? Yeah, I forgot about this. Depreciation, I will talk about it later. Net interest. Okay, net interest here is equal to the sum here, and I'm going to project it. Yep. Okay. Now here's interest expense. This is negative, so I have to be here. You're going to see that this. Where is my debt schedule? Debt schedule is interest expense here. Yep, and when you have the value here, the value is positive, so you have to minus here, okay, to make it look like a little bit, okay. Now, okay, and then for this one, that's going to be equal. Oh my god, my computer is struck again. I have to pause. Now, I think it's back, right? Okay, yes, it's back. Now it's about this interest income. The interest income will be equal to debt schedule. You have the debt, interest income, interest deposit, okay. That's going to be equal to this one, okay. And the things why they show the value 0 here. G31, I'm going to make G31. Yes, it should be this. I have no idea why it is 0. Sorry. Here, let me check a little bit. Anything's wrong? Debt schedule G31, H31. It should be about 12 here, but I have no idea why it is. Is there something actually, let me say, about debt schedule? There's something wrong with the Excel, so let me pause a little bit to figure out what's happening. Okay, I think I know where the problem come from. So when you open this, then you're going to see the announcement. Careful, we found one or more circular reference in your workbook because from the calculate incorrectly. Circular reference. That means a problem of circular reference. So what does this mean? This means here's that. See, here's what the thing is that. Because in our debt schedule, we have about these things, these life, the interest here. They change when you have the interest input into the income statement. That's going to change for the net income. Okay, change in this lead to the change net income. When net income change, they're gonna make a change here in net income here, and then change the entire cash flow. When the entire cash flow change, they're gonna make the change into the balance sheet. Okay, balance sheet because you have this cash change here. Okay, so when the balance sheet is changing, so what's happened when the balance sheet is changing, especially for the account of long-term borrowing and short-term borrowing? Okay, so that's gonna make into the change of the cash here. When the cash here is changed, that's going to make about this one it change a little bit. Okay, when this change a little, they're going to come back into the income statement. They're going to change. Then that's called a circular. Okay, now to fix this, no problem. Account options, and then we're going to have about formula interactive, enable interactive. Okay, boom. Okay, problem fix. Okay, that's me. They're going to calculate. Okay, 12. Nothing wrong. Problem is fine. Earning, my assumption, if this is my assumption, it should be blue. No problem. This okay. Earning per share, this one. Okay. Now, this one changing. Now let's make a check about this working capital, which is schedule. So before we move on, let's take a little bit pause about for depreciation amortization. It's going to be equal to in the cash flow statement. There is depreciation is here. Okay, so it is like this. Okay. Oh yes, to finish that, actually we are about to be nearly finished that. Now let's go a little bit about our debt schedule here, and then here's about cash flow. Yes, we have this one haven't filled in. So for the short-term borrowing, that means that this is not the amount of short-term borrowing. This is the change in cash short-term borrowing. So that's going to be equal to. Now we go to our debt schedule. Here's short-term equal to issuance plus for retirement. Okay, so this is. Oops. Okay, and this one is long-term borrowing is going to be equal to issuance loss for retirement. Okay, so we're gonna make a change here. Okay, that is we just finalizing all our model. Income statement here, we have a cash flow statement already finished, balance sheet is already finished here too, depreciation schedule finished too, working capital finished too, debt schedule we finished too. And then here's something we need to check. If you want to make sure that everything is right, your formula is right, sorry, the debts is, so the value is must be blue. Okay, now the interest received, here's that the cash at the end of the year. Okay, cash at the end of the year. So therefore that this line must be equal to the cash in the balance sheet. Okay, here's 10, 14, 12, 10, 14 and 12. Okay, and in order to make sure that everything is right, I'm going to make a check here. Let me say that now check, that means that equal if this one is equal to in the balance sheet in cash here, then it is right down that yes. If not, they're going to be equal to no. Boom. Okay, so at least it's going to be equal. Okay, so here is, if you see one thing is that here, I'll tell again about why we don't include interest expense here to make you understand clearly, because here is that our interest will go directly into the income statement. We will change into the cash flow statement already, so we don't need to enter it to here. And here is that our this is cash at the end of the year. Okay, and this is equal to, here's the thing you have to note, this is cash before the debt payout, change in cash before debt payout. Okay, cash flow change cash before debt payout. And then this one doesn't include the two ones, short-term borrowing and long-term borrowing. Okay, so therefore that in in your debt schedule here, so that means that you have to include the total issuance and retirement. Total issuance and retirement, they are the change, make the change in your debt here. Okay, let me check an example here. So you're going to see that the change for short-term borrowing is 0, the change for long-term borrowing is 0, which means the total issuance to be 0 too. Okay, but now here on the cash flow statement, you see the change is 0. Okay, and it's make that our where is my short-term borrowing going to be stable over a year. Now let's just imagine what happens if I decide to issue about 200, 300, 500. So when it is about issue for 300, 200 here, I'm going to back to my balance sheet and then take a look here. Okay, if it is now, let's see about if my short-term borrowing is increasing, definitely our short-term borrowing, they're increasing instead of keeping the same amount level year by year. And now we're going to see in the cash flow statement here, you see they increase by 200, 300 and 500. Okay, that's make a lot of sense here. But for our long-term borrowing is still like this. Okay, so if you want to change for this, we're going to go to debt schedule. For example, now assuming that this is the schedule for them in 2016, 2017, 2018, that if you remember that we have about, for example, they have about 5 billion long-term debt due. Yes, they have about just 1,000. And here they have about just 2,000. Okay, these are the amount. If you remember about the file that I already give you about the amount of debt due, so you can enter here that the retirement here, estimate 2,000. That's going to be minus 5,000. Okay, and then it's going to be minus 1,000, then minus 2,000 here. Okay, now here's the thing is that you see that here's that this value just change yes, yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no. If you recall it, play it back, you're going to see that the reason is why. Here if you're going to check 5361, 5361 here. Okay, and then the one is when 0 is 5371, 5371. Go to balance sheet and go to 5371. They are equal, but why this is arrow here? The arrow here is because, as I told you, we have the circular reference. Okay, that means that because when everything changes in about the cash flow, in about where is the instrument here? Okay, they influence into the change in interest. Okay, they influence to the change in interest, and when the interest change, they come into this one income statement. They change here. When they change here, they change into the net income. Net income change will affect into the cash flow statement change. Okay. Okay, so therefore they just repeat the circular again and again and again. So the problem is two value, they nearly approximately, the difference may be somewhat 0.0001. Okay, but here the computer recognizes a different. Okay, so therefore the thing is that we can fix this a little bit by if. Okay, so I'm going to check this about arms instead of this. Instead it's going to round. Let me round up. If this minus for this, round to the digit 0 equals 0. I mean, a long time I haven't used this formula. Okay, that is yes. Okay, now it is yes. Okay, you see some problem about circular reference. No problem about this. Okay, now this is yes. This is about, you have to base on the information that I already give you about the debt schedule here, and then you're gonna see, check it back about how it changed to your balance sheet. Okay, the debt is actually reduced, and if that the company, for example, in this year they have about, okay, the total amount of debt they already pay is about 8, okay, minus 8,000, and here that they need to maintain some leverage ratio, depend on your calculation. Sorry, I have the phone. Okay, I'm back here. Now, where did I stop? I just forgot it. Yes, for example, they already issue about 8,000, okay, or 8 billion here. So they need to make some financing here about, say, like, plus the additional 10,000 more. Is it too much? Yes, okay, that's going to change here, okay. You're going to see the issuance change here. 10 minus 2 is A5, rate is A5, okay. That's going to change to your cash flow statement, okay. Here's that the net is 8,000 because they pay 2,000 and they borrow another 10,000. Okay, so that's going to be influence. That is about the debt schedule, and in which the debt schedule is the most important things for your what is that, for your credit analysis, because here you're going to check to see that if their total cash before the payment, is it enough for them? For example, when you take a look at this, you're going to see that, okay, this is the amount of cash flow before the debt payout, okay, before they pay out anything. Okay, is it still enough for them to do so? Okay, that is the good things. And this is about the example I try, and most of the number here is, okay, if there is any mistake, because all the number here is make up, the thing is that the objective is that I try to make you to understand the technique in order to make the forecasting for your modeling. Okay, so therefore I try to make the example very easy for you. Now another video back on about the example I do for you about the debt schedule, I will upload it as soon as available, because there's some problem with about the sounds and the internet of the school. Okay, so if you have any question, you can email me. Thank you, and hope you do for a good project.